It's 8:45 a.m. Picture this. I'm hunched in the back corner of a freezing boardroom, my coffee already cold, watching fog swirl against the tall windows of downtown Munich. In front of me, Lee, my star client, or at least he was supposed to be my star this morning. The table is packed, CEO at the head, team on the other side, everyone in their tailored suits that probably cost more than my rent. Lee is sweating through his shirt, blinking really hard, hands shaking so much he nearly fumbles his notepad. I shoot him what I hope is a "you've got this" sort of smile, but honestly, I'm just sat there bracing for impact. Then the CEO darts a look, sharp as a scalpel, and booms, "Well, Lee, your thoughts?" Lee opens his mouth, and for the third time squeaks out, "I think we could maybe..." Instantly, I feel every eye in the room glaze over. You know that moment where silence swallows the room and no one wants to be the next person to speak? Yeah, that. Inside, I'm screaming, "Lee, dude, not what we practiced." But he's stuck, frozen, and the CEO's eyebrow climbs higher. Honestly, I thought it might disappear into his hairline. What happened in the next 5 minutes changed how I will ever approach business English, both for myself and every client after Lee. And bonus, it gave me 3 killer alternatives to the limp, lifeless phrase "I think." Phrases that shout confidence, not confusion. Phrases that help you own the room. And let's be honest, win deals and probably a raise. But you want to know, did Lee crash and burn or pull off a comeback worthy of a Netflix special? And what exactly did he say or didn't say that made all the difference? Lean in because you're about to find out. Let's rewind the tape. So, just imagine industrial carpets underfoot, that weird off-brand refrigerator buzz filling the corners, and those brutal strips of winter sunlight slicing through the conference room glass. My shoes are squeaking as I shuffle papers for the third time, hopelessly pretending I'm deeply invested in organising my notes. But in truth, I'm just hiding behind the world's saddest hotel coffee pot, praying no one notices my nerves. Right next to me, Lee. Usually, Lee is the kind of guy you'd trust to land your plane in a snowstorm. Calm, collected, razor sharp. But today, let me put it this way. If dread had a face, Lee would be on the billboard. He looks like he wants the table to swallow him whole. Maybe you know the feeling, that split second before your big pitch, where your heart's hammering like it's auditioning for a rock band, and all you can think is, don't mess this up. Here's why all this matters. This wasn't just another meeting. This was the final pitch for a deal worth, no joke, 7 figures. The CEO at the head of the table was straight out of Central Casting. Tailored navy suit, silver tie pin, a gaze that could slice bread, and absolutely zero time for, as we say in England, waffle. Lee came loaded with killer ideas. The kind of ideas that you sketch on cocktail napkins and later save to show your grandkids. But as he opened his laptop, his voice shrunk. Instead of just saying what needed to be said, every sentence crawled out wrapped in bubble wrap. I think we should consider, I think it might be helpful. I think maybe it's a good next step. Each I think was like watching someone tiptoe across a tightrope, and the CEO, well, his eyes flicked to the door like he was already late for the next, more interesting meeting. You ever been in that spot where your ideas are good, so good, but the words come out wrapped in question marks and everyone starts looking at you like you just asked their permission? Flash forward, the meeting ends. The bid is over. Lee slumps down on a cracked leather bench in the hallway next to me, dropping his notes in defeat. His hands are shaking a little as he whispers, "I just don't sound, confident. They treat me like the intern." In that moment, I'm thrown right back to a memory, a vivid one, of helping an Italian client. Same problem, super smart, super prepared, but he kept saying, "I think," in a make or break interview, again and again, until finally the panel thanked him for his enthusiasm and handed the promotion to somebody else. Ouch. If you've ever left a meeting replaying your sentences, wishing you'd sounded more sure, trust me, you're sharing a bench with Lee and half the corporate world. Here's the crazy part. 2 weeks before this disaster, Lee and I had drilled the exact scenario. I told him, probably more than once, the words you use, they build trust, or they break it. There's no third option. He'd nodded, promised to banish "I think" forever. We even practiced what I like to call the Ninja Turtle stare, looking your audience dead in the eyes and speaking like you own your message. But the moment stress crept in, the old habit, like some "I think" virus, took over. The worst moment? The CFO, who up until that point had the charisma of a potted plant, suddenly comes alive, leans forward and goes, "So, are you sure or not?" Direct hit. If you've ever had someone cut you off to question your certainty, then you know how much that stings. Like being called out in class, except the teacher is wearing a $10,000 watch. So after all was said and done, I told Lee the same thing I'll tell you right now. I have been there, not just as a coach, but as the one making those errors myself. It happens especially when English isn't your mother tongue and every word feels like a stone you need to turn over before you throw. Was the deal lost forever? Honestly, in business, most stories aren't fairy tales. We didn't get the 7-figure contract, but that wasn't the end for Lee, and it doesn't have to be the end for you either. We regrouped, hacked into the roots of his language habits, and started our own little bootcamp for the 2 words that ruin confidence in English meetings. I think. In our next session, we dissected and then drilled mercilessly the art of sounding clear and bold in English. No arrogance, no foot-in-mouth moments, just strong, native-sounding statements, the kind you use when money's riding on what comes out of your mouth. And that's when I unearthed what I call the 3 magic replacements for "I think." The ones you hear in actual boardrooms, not just textbooks. Now, let's crack open your secret business English toolkit, because honestly, if you're still leaning on "I think" in big meetings, that's like showing up to a sword fight with a butter knife. Stick with me because I've got 3 game-changing phrases that lifted Lee straight out of the "I think" limbo. So, sharpen your ears, here's your first power move. Phrase 1. In my view. In my view. Not just safe, but smooth as silk. It's respectful without shrinking into the wallpaper. For example, in my view, this approach saves 20% in costs. Picture Lee, papers stacked, nerves jangling, drops this line. Instantly, everyone's eyes shift over to him. Suddenly, he's the guy with ideas, not just the guy in the blue tie. Alright, phrase 2. This is your verbal business suit. I'm confident that. For example, I'm confident that our solution meets all requirements. Just picture Lee. He tries this out, hands only sweating a little this time. It's not just air, it's a statement. Suddenly, even the head of finance starts scribbling. And now the grand finale, the phrase that upgrades opinions into cold, hard facts. The data shows. For example, the data shows our method is faster. You hear that? That is a phrase that is difficult to argue with. Did you notice the difference this makes? No more tiptoeing, no more I think, maybe, possibly. We're swinging for the fences. Here's the real magic. The moment Lee switched from I think to those phrases, the CEO, who'd been stone-faced all morning, actually nodded. That was the breakthrough. Sometimes it just takes changing the way you open your mouth to change your fortune in that room. All right, toolkit principles. Write these on a sticky note above your desk. Principle 1. Match your confidence to the evidence. If you have the data, let it shine. Don't say, I'm confident if you're just guessing. But don't shrink back and disappear either. Even a little fact can take you far. Principle 2. Practice these phrases out loud until you could recite them in your sleep. Seriously, repeat them in the shower, while cooking, or walking to the bus. You want these phrases locked and loaded the next time your boss asks for your opinion, and you're not just tumbling out a I kinda think maybe we should. No, you have far better phrases now. And yeah, let's avoid the rookie mistake. Don't overcorrect. I've seen people jump from I think to obviously this is best in a room full of seasoned pros. That's asking for disaster. Save the bravado for karaoke night. In business, you want to sound strong, not full of yourself. Confident, not cocky. So, a quick recap here. Phrase 1, in my view. Phrase 2, I'm confident that. And phrase 3, the data shows. Test drive those this week and see what happens. Remember, boardroom battles are won one sentence at a time. So, put yourself in Lee's position. Next time you're sitting in a meeting about to say, I think, I want you to see Lee's face in your mind. Lee clutching that tiny office coffee cup like it was a life raft. Let that mental image shake you up a little, because you deserve to sound more confident than I think. Instead, try these little power-ups. In my view, I'm confident that the data shows. That's it. It's tiny, but trust me, clients, bosses, investors, even that nosy coworker from HR, they pick up on this stuff. They feel it. Suddenly, you're radiating authority, even if your shoes don't match your belt on the day. And hey, let's get real for a second. Every big deal, every dream client, every next payday, it all starts with how you sound in English. Your words, your tone, the story you tell, even before the PowerPoint slides start flickering. So, practice. No, seriously, right now, even if your only audience is your reflection, your cat, or that one plant that refuses to die. Give it a try. I'm confident that this strategy will increase sales by 20%. The data shows we're ahead of schedule. In my view, this approach is the best fit for our client. Great. That new level of English, it's not for someday, it's for right now. So before I let you run back to your spreadsheets and endless emails, big thanks for spending a coffee break with me today, and hey, don't miss our next episode. Until then, keep going, keep laughing at your mistakes, and remember, your business English is honestly your secret superpower. don't be afraid to use it